Hold on to your steering wheels, folks, because the price of new cars has gone through the roof. It's not just a slight increase, it's a significant leap that's catching everyone off guard. The average new car today will set you back over $48,000. That's right, 48 grand for a set of wheels. That's a hefty sum, and it's a big jump from just a few years ago. Back then, you could get a decent car for much less. What's driving this upward trend? Let's pop the hood and find out. We've seen pandemics, supply chain chaos, and a host of other issues. And even a microchip shortage that would make a robot cry. These tiny components are crucial for modern cars. All of these things have put the squeeze on car production. Factories have had to slow down or even halt production. When fewer cars are rolling off the assembly line, the supply diminishes. The ones that are available become more expensive. It's a classic case of supply and demand. It's basic economics, but that doesn't make it any easier on the wallet. Consumers are feeling the pinch. But it's not just external factors driving up prices. There's more to the story. Our own tastes have changed too. We now prefer bigger, more luxurious vehicles. Remember when compact cars ruled the road? They were economical and easy to park. Those days are fading faster than a 1970s muscle car's paint job. Nostalgia aside, the market has shifted. Today it's all about SUVs and trucks. These vehicles dominate the market. These behemoths offer more space and a commanding presence, making them highly desirable. But they also come with a bigger price tag. Luxury and size don't come cheap. So, what's a car enthusiast to do? Don't despair. There are still options out there. We'll navigate the rest of this price hike journey together and explore alternatives, and see if we can't find some diamonds in the rough. There are still deals to be had if you know where to look. The year 2020 threw us a curveball with the COVID-19 pandemic, and the automotive industry felt the impact like a head-on collision. Factories shut down, supply chains sputtered, and people were wary of big purchases. This perfect storm of events sent shockwaves through the car market. With production stalled, new car inventory dwindled, creating a classic case of supply and demand. Fewer cars on dealer lots meant those in the market had to pay a premium. It was a seller's market, and prices climbed higher than a teenager trying to sneak out at night. But the pandemic also shifted our buying habits. With lockdowns and travel restrictions in place, many people held onto their existing cars longer than usual. This pent-up demand further fueled the price surge when things started to reopen. It was like everyone decided to buy a new car at the same time. The pandemic's effects are still being felt today, but there's light at the end of the tunnel. As production ramps up and supply chains stabilize, we should see some easing of prices. However, don't expect them to return to pre-pandemic levels anytime soon. Remember the days of the humble sedan? Those reliable, no-frills vehicles that were once the backbone of American roads? They're becoming a distant memory, slowly fading into the background of our automotive history, as SUVs and trucks dominate the automotive landscape, taking over streets and highways. These larger-than-life vehicles have captured the hearts and imaginations and wallets of American drivers, becoming the new symbol of status and practicality. But they're also a major factor in rising car prices, pushing the average cost of vehicles higher and higher. Why are we so smitten with these behemoths? What makes them so irresistible? For starters, they offer more space for families and cargo, making them ideal for road trips and daily errands. Plus, their higher driving position provides a sense of security and command of the road, a feeling many drivers crave. Let's face it, there's just something inherently cool about driving a vehicle that makes you feel like you could conquer any terrain. From rugged mountains to city streets, even if your biggest adventure is navigating the grocery store parking lot on a busy Saturday afternoon. But all that space and bravado come at a cost, a significant one at that. SUVs and trucks are more expensive to manufacture, requiring more raw materials and larger engines, which in turn drives up the price tag. The larger engines and additional features add to the complexity and cost. Plus, their lower fuel economy means you'll be shelling out more at the pump, a trade-off many are willing to make. But for many drivers, the allure of these vehicles outweighs the added expense, offering a blend of comfort, space, and style. This shift in consumer preference towards larger, pricier vehicles has significantly impacted average car prices, pushing them to new heights. As long as SUVs and trucks remain in high demand, and consumers continue to favor them, expect prices to stay elevated, reflecting this ongoing trend. It's a classic case of supply and demand, with a touch of American car culture thrown in for good measure. The love affair with SUVs and trucks shows no signs of slowing down, and neither do the prices. Back in 2008, the government decided to crack down on gas guzzlers by implementing stricter fuel economy standards. This was a significant move aimed at reducing greenhouse gas emissions and promoting environmental sustainability. The idea was to push automakers to innovate and create more fuel-efficient vehicles, thereby reducing the nation's carbon footprint. But instead of simply requiring all cars to get better mileage, they introduced something called footprint regulations. These regulations were designed to be more flexible, taking into account the size of the vehicle. The larger the vehicle, the more lenient the fuel economy requirements. This approach was meant to balance the needs of different types of vehicles and their uses. This meant automakers had to achieve a certain average fuel economy across their entire fleet, with larger vehicles given more leeway than smaller ones. Sounds reasonable, right? The goal was to ensure that even as larger vehicles remained on the market, their overall fuel efficiency would improve, contributing to environmental goals. Well, it turns out these regulations had some unintended consequences. While the intention was to create a balanced approach, the reality was more complex. Automakers found ways to exploit these regulations to their advantage. Since automakers could build bigger, less fuel-efficient vehicles without facing as much penalty, they had less incentive to produce those small, affordable cars that used to be so prevalent. The market began to shift, with more resources being allocated to the production of larger vehicles. This shift in focus towards larger vehicles further fueled the rise in average car prices. As demand for larger vehicles grew, so did their prices, making it harder for consumers to find affordable options. Think of it like this. If you're a car company and you can make more profit selling a big SUV that gets decent mileage, why bother with a small fuel-efficient car that yields a smaller profit margin? The financial incentives were clear, and companies followed the money. It's a business decision, plain and simple. Companies are driven by profit, and the regulations inadvertently made larger vehicles more profitable. While footprint regulations were intended to reduce our dependence on foreign oil and promote fuel efficiency, they inadvertently contributed to the demise of the affordable car. The focus shifted away from creating economical vehicles for the average consumer. It's a classic example of how government regulations, however well-intentioned, can sometimes have unforeseen consequences. The balance between environmental goals and market realities is delicate, and even the best-laid plans can lead to unexpected outcomes. Remember the days when you could walk into a dealership and snag a brand new car for under $20,000? Those days are fading faster than the memory of a summer romance. Many of the affordable models that once populated dealer lots have been discontinued, replaced by pricier, more feature-laden successors. Take the Chevrolet Cruze, for example. This compact car was once a beacon of affordability, but it was discontinued in 2019. Its replacement, the Chevrolet Trailblazer, is a subcompact SUV that starts at a significantly higher price point. The same story holds true for the Ford Fiesta, another affordable favorite that met its demise in 2019. Automakers argue that consumers are demanding more features and technology, and that these upgrades come at a cost. While that's true to some extent, it's hard not to feel like the days of the simple, affordable car are behind us. It's like the automotive industry decided to go all in on luxury, leaving budget-conscious buyers in the dust. The electric revolution is upon us, with EVs becoming increasingly mainstream. While this is great news for the environment, it's also having a noticeable impact on car prices. EVs, at least for now, are generally more expensive to produce than their gasoline-powered counterparts, and those costs are passed on to consumers. The batteries that power EVs are the primary culprit behind their higher price tags. These batteries require rare earth minerals and complex manufacturing processes which drive up costs. However, there's good news on the horizon. As battery technology improves and production scales up, we can expect to see EV prices become more competitive with traditional vehicles. In fact, we're already starting to see some price parity in certain segments. For example, the Tesla Model 3, one of the most popular EVs on the market, now starts at a price comparable to many mid-size luxury sedans. And as more automakers enter the EV fray, competition will further drive down prices. So, while EVs are currently contributing to higher average car prices, they hold the promise of a more affordable electric future. It's a classic case of short-term pain for long-term gain, and one that's ultimately good for the planet. With all these factors driving up car prices, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. But don't despair. There are still ways to navigate this challenging market and find a vehicle that fits your budget and needs. First and foremost, do your research. Know what you're looking for and what you're willing to spend. Don't be afraid to negotiate with dealerships, and consider buying used if you're on a tight budget. Remember, a car is a significant investment, so take your time, shop around, and don't be afraid to walk away if a deal doesn't feel right. With a little patience and savvy shopping, you can still find a great set of wheels without breaking the bank.